Hi, I'm Leezá Steindorf. I'm a leadership coach, a conflict resolution specialist, and the creator of the Core Success Framework. And today I want to talk about something that just about everyone runs into, and especially at the end of a long and messy and unpredictable year. How do I ask for what I deserve in the new year? Yeah, so perhaps things didn't go the way you thought they would. Maybe a job didn't work out, or a relationship changed, or it even maybe ended, or you set goals last January and they didn't come to fruition, or maybe how you felt the world is supposed to function totally changed, right? I know that a lot of people have been struggling with that. So maybe as you look back, there's a quiet voice in your head, and maybe it's saying to you that constant voice we have running, you should have done more. You should have known better. You shouldn't be doing this, or you shouldn't be here where you are right now. Yeah. And if that sounds familiar, if you have that tape on repeat about what you could have, should have, would have, right? Pause for a second and take a breath. This conversation is for you, and not only for you because you're not alone. What we're talking about today isn't about fixing yourself, and it's not about forcing optimism at all. It's really about reflecting with honesty and then making a reset, but doing it with intention and creating a foundation so that your new year isn't stronger because everything goes perfectly, but it's stronger because you're grounded in yourself and because you are going to grow. Okay? So we're going to walk through this using the core framework: clarity, ownership, resolution, excellence. So let's start at the beginning, and that's with clarity and naming what actually happened. Yeah. So when I speak about clarity, I'm talking about taking stock, looking at the facts, not judging, not shaming yourself. So before we can reframe anything, before we can plan or change or move on, we need to tell the truth. Yeah, what actually happened? So not everything works out the way we want it to, and pretending otherwise actually doesn't really help either. So ask yourself, without drama, without judgment, what didn't go as planned this year? And we're only talking about our world, right? I'm not talking about out there in the world at large. That would be a much longer conversation right now. I'm talking about in your world: finances, relationships, work, hobbies, health, sports, whatever it is, you name it. Was it a promotion you didn't get? Maybe you had a business idea that didn't go anywhere, or it stalled. A relationship that ended, or it's changed. Or maybe you had a version of yourself that you thought you would have achieved by now, but you haven't. Yeah? So then ask yourself a deeper question. What were you hoping for, right? So when we want things, it's not always the surface thing we want. Like we want that next job. Maybe it's not about the job. Maybe it's about security or freedom or connection or ease or satisfaction, right? It's what that desired experience represents for us. So this is where clarity actually starts, and it serves us so incredibly. And not with self-criticism. Again, I come back to the genius of non-judgment. Yeah. So when we get clear on what exactly it is that we wanted and why, then we have understanding. We get a better picture of ourselves and how we operate. Because when you can name both what didn't happen and what you were hoping for in that, you take some of the sting out of that disappointment, and you have a deeper understanding of why you wanted that in the first place. Okay? So I'm going to encourage you to take a moment and write it down in just a few words. Write down what didn't come to fruition for you. What were you disappointed in this past year? Just in a few words. And why? What was important to you in that? Okay? Clarity doesn't demand solutions. It's actually asking us to be honest with ourselves so that we have a clearer picture. And that helps us actually move forward in a way that's going to serve us more. Okay. So now let's talk about ownership. And I want to emphasize that we're going to, when I speak about ownership, I'm speaking about taking 100% responsibility for yourself, for yourself, and not for everything else. It's not about blaming at all. And actually, you can tap into your own power, to the strength that you have when you stand in, this is mine to do, or that was mine to do, or wow, that wasn't mine to do at all. Okay? So once you've named what happened, right, what we just did, you move into owning it. And again, I'm going to say it's not about blame, it's about agency. So ask yourself, what was actually in my control this year? If you go down, if you made a list, go down each one of those situations. Maybe the outcome wasn't what you wanted, but did you show up? Maybe you did, or maybe you didn't. And then you can ask yourself why. Or did you try something new? Or maybe you had a hard conversation that didn't go the way you wanted it to, but you had a hard conversation, right? Or maybe you took a risk, even a small one. It wasn't as big as you wanted, but you took a risk. So start looking at what was yours to do and what did you do? Where did you stand in yourself? And those things matter because it's easy to spiral into blame or into the, how should I say, the um, filter of, well, it could have been better, or it should have been different, or I didn't do enough, right? We minimize. So you can't do anything about external circumstances, the economy, the company you're working for, timing, other people, but you have total control over how you show up. All right. And all those things happen. They're real, but you can't control those. You can influence them, but you can't control them. So if you stay focused on not what you can't control, but you look at what you have command over, then you actually can retain and grow your power, your strength. And when I talk about power, I'm not talking about power over. I'm talking about power from within and outward. Okay? So when we have ownership, we can say, I might not have controlled the outcome, but I own my effort, I own my choices, and I own how I respond. Yeah? So give yourself a chance to reflect honestly and ask a couple questions. What effort did I make that I can respect, even if it didn't work out? Okay. Um, what decisions would I make differently next time now knowing what you know? Whatever didn't work out. Or where did I hesitate? Or what did I avoid? Or did I hold back? And what did I learn from that? What did those situations teach me? So we're not ignoring the things that didn't come out the way we wanted them to, that didn't work. We're actually using them as guideposts of what we can improve. And it takes some courage, right? But when you take out the judgment, and I've spoken a lot about the genius of non-judgment, when you take out the judgment, you say, well, that didn't work. Wow, I was really too aggressive or too passive, or wow, I actually stood up for myself, but circumstances didn't serve me. And that when you get clear on that, you can stand in that strength in yourself without losing your stability. Yeah. So ownership is literally where your leverage lives. When you own your part, you also can reclaim your ability to choose differently the next time or moving forward. So it really puts you in the driver's seat. Okay, let's talk about resolution now. And this is really the opportunity to let go of what didn't work while receiving the lessons. Okay. And when I speak about resolution, I'm talking about how do we bring things into alignment, into what we believe in, what we stand for, what our values are. And this is actually where people often rush or they skip it completely. And this may sound odd, but I want you to think about it. Disappointment has energy in it. It's got energy. And if you don't process it, it doesn't go away. It can show up later as hesitation because last time, dot, dot, dot. Or it can show up as self-doubt because, wow, that other time. Or it can maybe actually keep you playing small because it didn't work out last time. So resolution starts with actually acknowledging fully that it didn't go the way you wanted it to, not minimizing it, and not pretending you're fine, just simply telling the truth to yourself, and then letting it go without erasing what you learned. So resolution here is releasing that point of friction of, oh, but I wish it would have, or gosh, it didn't. Recognize that and then let it go. Yeah, you didn't fail. You gathered information. You've learned something. And that is super powerful because no one can take that away from you. So you can ask yourself, what did this experience teach me about myself? What patterns can I see more clearly now because of what happened or what I did? And what support or structure or boundaries would help me do it differently to not repeat it that same way? And then there are your guideposts, right, for moving forward. And that's how growth happens. So it certainly doesn't happen by being perfect because there's nothing to change. There's nothing to learn from. It's a polished surface, right? Growth happens through reflection, for looking at what is without judgment and recognizing what you'd like to do differently and why. Okay, so resolution isn't about tying it up with a little bow. It's about not dragging something that's unfinished or still stinging into the future, into your next day. Okay? All right. And now we're going to talk about excellence. And as I've said before, all four of these pillars, they flow together. They're woven together. They're different facets of the same gem. So when we're talking about excellence, we're talking about taking a step and coming from the highest and best within ourselves. It's not about being perfect or being polished at all. Okay? Excellence is also not about being impressive or doing more, and it's certainly not about proving anything. If we boil it down, I'd say it's about alignment, aligning with that highest and best within yourself. So you can ask yourself, given everything you know now, what would an aligned next step look like for you? Right? So everything we've just clarified and taken ownership of and come to resolution with all of that understanding and coming from the highest and best within yourself, what would an aligned next step look like for you? And I'm not talking about a 5-year plan or massive overhaul, just one step. One step. Might be setting a boundary, asking for feedback, seeking a conversation, maybe trying the same thing but trying it differently this time, or letting yourself try something completely new. So excellence is not a performance. It's not trying to get it right finally, okay? It's really a commitment to yourself to show up honestly and with clarity and ownership and intention and standing in that center of yourself with strength, okay? So a couple questions you can reflect on. What matters most to you right now? With everything that we've just spoken about, with everything you've learned about the things that didn't go the way you wanted them to, what matters most to you now? What are you ready to do differently? Not perfectly, but with awareness. And who are you becoming? And how can you take one step into that version of yourself? Right? So that's really walking and acting with intention. That's excellence. Okay? So I want you to know that you're not forced to start over again, but you are allowed to begin anew. And actually, every next moment is anew. So the truth is, and I want you to hear this, things do not have to go perfectly for you to grow. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, they rarely do. But when you are willing to be true to yourself, look honestly at what happened, own your part without shame, resolve what needs to be released or what would be useful to you to release, and you keep moving forward, then this year that's coming doesn't have to be a repeat of the one behind you at all. It can be something you can look forward to because you're not behind, you're not broken, you are not stuck. You have a new opportunity right now. You are becoming and living into that new opportunity. And that's not nothing. That's actually everything. That's not just a play of words. So if this landed for you, I'd love to hear from you, share some comments, and whatever didn't go as planned and what you're choosing to do differently now, share that too. And if you'd like more grounded tools like this that lead you to yourself and allow you to connect with others with clarity and confidence, there are free resources here below in the link. And please know your growth is not mandatory. It's who you get to be, and it's moving into your future. And we can take it together one step at a time. I'm here to help. All right, take good care.